Welcome into Coach and Bro, presented by Afterburn, in theaters, September 19th.
Oh, what's good, everybody? Welcome in to your favorite Thursday morning pro wrestling show right here on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. I am your host, the Coach, and do we have a lot of topics to talk about today? Now, first and foremost, we have a ton of content here at the brand. If you want to become a premium member, you can do it on our BTT YouTube page that continues to grow bigger and bigger every single day, and you can catch all of our episodes on demand whenever you so choose. But we're so thrilled to be here on Stadium and Bally Sports Live every single Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, if you're in the chat watching on YouTube, hit the like button for us. It really helps the show grow. In the meantime, I got to bring my partner, and he is fired up today. He's got some opinions ready to fire off. He's the greatest writer in the history of pro wrestling from russosbrand.com, my main man, Vince Russo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. And it's funny that you talk about opinions because I have been hearing it ever since I commented on the Becky Lynch skip to my Lou.
Oh,
segment.
no.
You know, Coach, you can't say anything. You can't have an opinion. You can't offer a suggestion of how to do it another way. If you don't say everything the WWE does is great, if you don't say that, there's going to be hellfire and fury, Coach.
Oh, my gosh. And mine, yours is Becky. Mine is Lyra, because I said on social media, I said, you're not going to be seeing her in a, what did I say, a vital role or a major role. Because remember, they were giving her a bunch of promos and all this kind of stuff. So she's had matches the last 2 weeks and really bad backstage skits. Right. And so, of course, every Lyra Valkyrie fan out there is like, see, Coach, you were wrong. Their show. I said, just because she's on the show does not mean that she deserves or belongs in that role. But you can't say it. You can't say it.
You can't say anything, Coach. And the fact that 3 weeks in a row, Rhea Ripley has literally had a 30-second backstage segment on the show 3 weeks in a row. That tells you everything you need to know. Everything.
What are you talking about? They're saving her for NXT.
Yeah.
She was on NXT Tuesday night. She's going to be in the main event, a 6-woman tag next week at Full Sail as they go back to their roots. They're going back to their roots, Vince. And guess who's also going to be there?
Who's that?
The King of Pops.
The King of Pops.
King of Pops.
King of Pops.
He's gonna be there. Yeah.
You know, Coach, I got real quick. I don't want.
Yeah.
I know you've got a template and you set it up, and I want to stay within it. But you know how like we always talk about, all they do is they're catering to the marks, catering to the marks, catering to the marks. And I told you many years ago, a woman that I respect so much that used to run the USA Network, Bonnie Hammer, always told me, Vince, you can't assume anything. You've got to write this show like it's the first time somebody's watching it. And you got to keep reiterating the story over and over and over and over. This is the head of the network, one of the most successful people ever. Do you know, Coach, they assumed that everybody knew who AJ Lee was. She hasn't been on television in 10 years. So when Coach and I say they are catering to a mark audience they already have, this is exactly what we mean. AJ Lee has not been on that show for 10 years. No mention of her, no mention of CM Punk's wife, nothing. They assumed every single person watching the show remembered AJ Lee from 10 years ago. So don't say for a second that Coach and I don't know what the frig we're talking about.
You're fired up today, man. I'm
so sick and tired of hearing these brainless freaking marks. You're going to assume everybody knows who this woman is that we haven't seen in 10 years.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Are you talking about, because we love to kind of give our expertise on how a show is rolled out. Are you talking about SmackDown when because obviously she was a surprise that was everybody knew was going to happen. Are you talking about SmackDown, or are you talking about Raw after she came back to tell us the story?
I'm talking about both, but primarily SmackDown, because Coach just said, the king of pops. That's all they wanted, was that pop to put up on social media and YouTube. But Coach, do you mean to tell me, if we had a little backstory with AJ Lee, reminding everybody who she was, maybe even doing a little interview with her at her home, and her saying, listen, man, I don't get in my husband's business, whatever. If we would have had the slightest of introductions of AJ Lee, do you mean to tell me that pop would have been less?
I guess this is where I'm going to push back on you just a little bit, and never question your expertise. But to me, the way the storyline was written and given out, you needed to have that, is she going to be here or is she not? Just a little bit. Now, where I will agree with you is after that, they did have a promo Monday where she went out and kind of told where she's been for 10 years with the mental health. I've never heard therapy chanted before ever in my career. So that was a first. So I think maybe they thought about it, but I didn't mind how they did it. But Michael Cole did say something that feeds into what you're saying. He said, we know she's all about crazy. And I was like, how do we know that? Because she hasn't been on for 10 years. So I don't know how I would have preferred they do it. But I know this, that Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, he is now doing something that I can't believe it came out of his mouth, but also WWE is doing. Because did you see the numbers for AJ Lee? It was the highest 24-hour viewed clip ever.
Yeah,
130 million.
And right? that's exactly what they wanted.
Of course. Now,
right.
Adam Silver, who just signed multi-billion-dollar deals with several different networks, he was answering questions yesterday. And they're like, listen, I don't even know where these NBA games are at. I don't even know how to watch them. He's like, hey, you can just go watch the highlights. We're a highlight-driven league. And I think what he meant was like dunks and things like that. But the way it came out is like, you don't need to watch the games. And right now, with the ESPN starting in, 9 days, and Netflix, we've talked about it many times, that the numbers continue to go down. And Vince, you bring up the USA Network. Well, the Friday before, they had 1.1 million viewers. Like, it's an all-time low. And then last week, they had 1.5 because you knew Cena was going to be there. You assumed Brock would be there, and then you assumed AJ Lee would be there. But right now, I think they're running into the issue that you and I bring up all the time, that now with ESPN starting 8 months early, they had to bring AJ Lee back. They had to have her at WrestlePalooza. They had to have Brock, because now you've got to make it like a WrestleMania. And that's what the card looks like next week in Indianapolis. It feels like a WrestleMania because it's the first one on the ESPN app. Oh, no, our first conspiracy theory of the show.
I hate to do this to you because you are the coach.
Uh-oh.
There is only one coach.
Thank you.
However, I am going to write off the pushback, as you called it, the pushback. I'm going to write that off to being a Vikings Bear thing.
Oh, geez. Are you going to brag about you winning? You had the right play.
No. I just want to say, I'm going to write it off to the pushback being a Viking Bear thing. Yeah, Coach, I really need, Coach, I'm going to tell you, so I don't know if I can make this happen. I really don't, because I don't know if he wants to get involved. But when I was consulting with the USA Network, I was consulting with the head guy who went on to work at Blumhouse, a production company. I think he's working there now. I would love to get a network executive on the show to interview and ask him these questions. Obviously, they're saying it publicly. We want the pop. We want the highlight. We want the clip. And they're bragging about the millions and millions and millions of people that are watching on social media. And we're watching the numbers on Netflix go down on a weekly basis. I am really going to try to get a network executive from any network. I'm going to see if I can pull this off just to hear what they have to say about this issue, because I would love to hear that side, Coach, because I know we're not nuts.
I think it would be great because we are a different wrestling show. Every other show loves to talk about Raw, SmackDown, the segments. We don't do that here. I think that'd be an amazing interview because we love to talk about the business of pro wrestling too. Because the other thing is right now that because of what you're talking about and the numbers going down, they're bragging about the money, the contracts, because the storylines and the content is not as compelling as they would like or as the audience would like. And so when you come out and you're so, to me, tone deaf, and then yesterday, Vince, TKO CFO Mark Shapiro, he came out, did another interview. This guy, every time he gets in front of CNBC, this was at a Goldman Sachs teleconference, and they're a big financial firm. So I'm hoping he's saying it just because of them. Yeah. But Vince, he came out and he named Vince McMahon, and he said he was pricing tickets for the family and not maximizing the opportunity. WWE is not having the yield, he called it, as UFC tickets are, so we need to make that adjustment. Translation, we have to increase our ticket prices again. Vince, I am blown away that this was a quote and that this company feels that they can still do more than what they're already doing to gouge the fan.
Well, also here's the amazing thing to me, Coach, because what we're doing is we are categorizing UFC, boxing, and professional wrestling. UFC and pro boxing was never a family game. Professional wrestling was, but now we're going to move professional wrestling over into the UFC boxing game. Okay, well then if we're going to do that, number one, King of Pops, Alexa Bliss needs to stop walking around with a doll. Okay, because nobody in UFC is walking around with a doll. I can't see. Every time I say Alexa, she starts mouthing off behind me. Coach. Alexa, shut up! I'm doing a show here.
That's hilarious. Sorry.
So Coach, when you and I come on this show and we say, like, you guys are all over the place. Like, did anybody tell the King of Pops this show isn't for families anymore? We're not interested in drawing families? Because that's what Shapiro said.
Yes.
He said, we are not marketing to families. We're not interested in families. I'm just wondering if Triple H knows that.
If he knows it or if he agrees with it. There's going to become a rubber meets the road situation, and it may be sooner than what we think when all your executives are giving out different messages, but this is the one that resonates because, Vince, at the end of the day, it's very simple. It's 101. Families look at the prices and say we can or we cannot afford to go. Yeah. And I'd love little Johnny or I'd love little Lucy to go, but we'd like to pay the mortgage this month. Yeah. And if you think that's an exaggeration, they just came out with tickets for the last John Cena Raw at Madison Square Garden, $2,900 for a ringside package for one ticket. But you get the chair, Vince. You get to take the chair. There you go.
Coach, one quick question again. I don't want to prolong this, but here's the big mystery to me.
All right, we got 20 seconds.
Why are you even bringing up Vince McMahon's name? Why?
That's the point. When you're trying to distance yourself. And we're going to talk about that on the other side. Also, if you didn't think that TKO and WWE was all about the money, another announcement came out yesterday about the future of Wrestlemania. And if you thought you were going to travel and take your family and enjoy it as a family outing, well, get ready to go to a country I promise you never thought you would ever go to. We'll talk about it on the other side. It is the Coach and Bro Show. We are live every single Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And thank you for joining us right here on Stadium and on Bally Sports Live. All right, you degenerates. We continue on here on our YouTube page. This is where we do the super stickers. And also for any that are $10 or more, every Thursday we collect them Mondays and Thursdays. And then we put them on a spinning wheel. And we have a make good for one of our very esteemed people, Sean McDermott. I don't know if I see him today. He was a little bit unhappy with us. It's okay. We're going to make it right with him.
Yes.
Gamer Guy Vince says, did you hear about Charlie Kirk? Of course. It's terrible for the American ideal of having open dialogue to discuss and find common grounds like this show. Thank you, Gamer Guy. It was an awful, awful story yesterday, Vince. Clearly, it was an awful. I like this guy because he does what we do. We don't have to agree all the time, but we have to listen to each other to try to get to common ground, which is what he was.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. When you have to start contemplating and worrying about being killed by going out and voicing your opinion, and then that opinion is now silenced, we're not in a good place when that starts to happen, Coach.
No doubt. And a day before 9/11, which is such a big part of our history. And we'll talk about it a little bit here in a couple of minutes live on the show. Tom Brady 12 said Vince was the best and had the great look. The heel boss feuds with Austin and the gun at Judgment Day. I don't know anyone TKO boss can play this role. He's right. He's right. His character was great. And also, Vince, remember, he only wanted to come on camera when his character had to come on camera.
Right.
He always put the boys first, didn't he? Always.
Absolutely. Yeah, Coach. When I used to produce Vince, he was the easiest one to produce because he knew I had to go produce, and he did not want me to waste any of my time producing him. He was the easiest talent to work with.
So many skits with him, like over a 3-year period, it was probably 2 a show, and he hardly ever did it over. It was never. All right, that's good. Let's go to the next thing, because he then had to produce other skits.
Right.
So, yeah, I think the more we get into this, that the closer we get to the first of the year, his name's going to be bringing up more and more and more and more the more they go this way. And the tone deafness from TKO. All right, keep the super stickers coming. We'll get more on the second break. We're back live in 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Coach and Bro Show here live on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. And it is obviously a special day in our country. It is 9/11, and we never want to forget. And Vince, real quick, I wanted to bring up, and kind of because of what happened yesterday with Charlie Kirk and the 9/11, the very first show, people forget, and I was there in 2001. And the first live event that came back was WWE Smackdown. It was supposed to be on a Tuesday. 9/11 was a Tuesday that year. And so we set in Houston for 2 days. And then we did a live Smackdown show in Houston. And I'll never forget Lillian Garcia singing the national anthem. We were all out on the stage. It might have been the most emotional 5 minutes of my entire life to this day.
Yeah, and Coach, me being a New York guy, you working, in Connecticut for a very long time. I'll always remember that Met and Yankees game. Remember when I'll never forget that as long as I live. That kind of summed up everything the country was going through, and what an unbelievable moment that was.
Wasn't that the Mike Piazza?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
my gosh.
Yes.
Whenever people say that certain moments aren't meant for certain moments, I go back to stuff like that. It's just it all came together, a perfect storm. And I just hope that anybody that watches this show is very compassionate. We listen to each other. And after what happened yesterday and the fact that today is 9/11, I think it's a great time to remind all of us to be compassionate and listen to one another. All right, let's continue on with the show, because, Vince, we were just talking about ticket prices, and it's becoming an overwhelming theme with TKO and WWE. And I'm almost ready to separate the two, because I don't know if the people like Triple H and Bruce and those that are still running WWE, if they technically agree with all these decision makers at TKO. It almost feels like it's two separate companies to me. And then yesterday happened, and it got kind of buried with all the other national news. But Vince, did you see the breaking news on where WWE is going to take Wrestlemania in 2027. Did you see this?
I saw it, Coach, but I'm going to give you the hold on. I'm going to give you the breaking news, Coach. I'm going to let you break this. Hold on, Coach.
We've got breaking news coming out of BTT Studios. It was announced less than 24 hours ago that not only is the WWE and TKO Holdings taking the Royal Rumble in 2026 to Saudi Arabia, but now the granddaddy of them all, the biggest show of the year, will now be going to Saudi Arabia in 2027. And Vince, this is clearly going to be a bot show, which is what all of them are. And what I mean by that is Saudi Arabia pays the WWE to come over there a couple of times a year. Straight, cold, hard cash. The original deal was $10 million a show plus production cost. This will be way more than that. But what are your thoughts on TKO taking the one show a year that's all about the families, all about the kids, and now you're telling them you need to fly to Saudi Arabia to enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, Coach, here's the one thing I do admire about TKO. They're making no bones about it. It's all about the money. It's not like they're even trying to hide it or camouflage it. It's like, no, man, our hand is in your pocket. You're going to go where we tell you to go. You're going to pay as much. And Coach, again, it's working. It's working. They're making money hand over fist. And we could sit here and say, it's going to catch up with you. It's going to catch up with you. But right now, man, Coach, you and I know darn well people are going to fly to Saudi Arabia just like it was Las Vegas to see that show. You and I both know that, Coach.
And if they do, then good for Saudi Arabia, because they have also, as a country, for years and years and years now, whether it's in golf with Liv, bringing Cristiano Ronaldo over there at $200 million a season to play soccer, or this, they want to turn their country into a place where people want to come and vacation and enjoy entertainment and not have the same stigma that they had 10 or 15 years ago. And this is a great way to do that from their perspective, is it not?
It absolutely is. And then you will have people here in the U.S., and we've seen a million times, Coach, they will moan, bitch, kveck, and the next day they'll forget all about it and it'll be business as usual.
Did you say kveck?
Yes.
Along with Levesque?
Yes.
Paul Levesque.
Yeah. Coach, can I take a quick right turn?
Of course, always.
Because I wanted to talk about this, and we didn't talk about this in our show notes, and I apologize to you. This blew me away. It came out the last couple of days that Hulk Hogan willed everything he had to his son, Nick. That's it. One person, just Nick. This freaking blew me away. When Hulk Hogan passed, Hulk Hogan's fortune was $5 million.
I saw that number.
Here's the first thing I said. The first thing I said was, okay, bro, the dude was divorced twice. That's the first thing I said. So how much went there? But my God, I am looking at this man's career and everything he had his hands in and how many years he was on top. And I'm looking at $5 million, and I'm like, how is that even possible, Coach?
Well, see, a lot of people aren't like you, Vince. They don't save every last ever-loving dollar because, and I'll readily admit that I'm divorced, and that took a lot of money for me. But he also has not worked full-time for 20 years. So he's had appearances and things like that. And also, you got to remember, Vince, that those numbers you see, usually the headlines are not correct. When Ozzy Osbourne died a few weeks ago, it said, he owed the IRS. He was in debt for $5 million, but he had a $260 million fortune. So they love the headlines so that they get that reaction. It may not be $5 million.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Nick confirmed that. That was in the story. And how would anybody ever know?
Yeah.
But,
if it is, I was just very, very surprised by that.
Yeah. And maybe he invested in the real life wrestling. I would doubt it. Because normally when you put your face and name on something, the smart thing to do is to say, I'm worth X, and I'll put my face on it, but you're not going to get any of my money. That's why they had that third guy in the picture. So who knows? Who knows? But maybe Nick will admit to it as well. We mentioned Triple H, and we've been talking a lot about Vince, and this one shocked me. And my producer on Off the Ropes on Sirius, he didn't understand because he's never been there why this was a big deal. And how many shows did Vince McMahon miss during your time?
Oh God, not as a shoot, none, zero,
right?
Zero as a shoot.
The only shows, Raw or SmackDown, that Vince ever missed during my time was when he ripped his quads off of his quads. And then he was in a wheelchair. So I think he missed 1 or 2 weeks was all it was. But it was less than 5. And I was there for almost 11 years the first time. So Vince, the other day, he went on the Pat McAfee show. And we know Pat McAfee has disappeared from WWE. Who knows why? WrestlePalooza is going to be in Indianapolis. So Triple H was on his show with Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton, who's a big NBA star, he loves wrestling. He was co-hosting the show. And he's like, man, I can't believe that the contract signing for Io Sky didn't happen last night. Triple H says, what? He goes, oh, yeah, it didn't happen. He goes, what? He goes, oh, I wasn't there last night. I was doing a Kill Tony podcast. He goes, oh, and then he realized what he said. He goes, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. So then what did his people do? They put out an edited music video of the different things that he went to. He went to like a TED Talk, one of these financial places where people buy tickets to listen to him talk. And then the Kill Tony podcast is the Tony Hinchcliffe, who's the most unfunny guy I've ever seen. He was the guy behind the roast at WrestleMania. Right. He was the guy that got crushed for the Puerto Rican comments at the Republican National Convention or one of those conventions. Vince, for Triple H to admit that not only he wasn't there, he didn't know what happened on the show. Yeah. Does that shock you?
Yeah, that's always my problem, man. And listen, man, I don't care how much heat I take. I don't care how much heat you put on me. I know what it takes to put on a good show. I know what it takes. And that's why I am so critical of Triple H. Now, if he didn't have that title, if it wasn't his name on those credits at the end of the show, different story.
Yep.
But as long as that is your title and your name is on the end of the show, then you know what? I hold you 100% responsible. And doing this podcast and that podcast and being on a yacht a couple of weeks ago with the bathing suit that you bought 20 years ago, I'm sorry, man. To me, that's phoning it in. That is phoning it into me. And that's why, Coach, like I said, come January, I am not watching these shows anymore because you have to earn my time. You are not going to earn my time by phoning it in every week.
Well, I will say a little bit in his defense, because this is one thing that we used to bitch about all the time, and you've talked about it, how you miss things with your kids, and certainly I did with mine, is that he's trying to spend more time with his family. He's trying to be more present with his kids who are getting a little bit older. That I respect. And he doesn't owe it to us to say he's not going to be there. But if he's going to put his face and his voice on everything the company does, then if you're going to miss these big shows, which I have said this publicly, this is the most important 4 months in the history of this company. The most important. When you've got 2 multi-billion-dollar deals on the table and your first show is a week from Saturday, you got to have your guy there. Triple H has been on every show. He was at ESPN on the campus. And then you don't show up for the Monday night when AJ Lee, who broke your Pops record, is going to be having her own segment on the show. It's just, to me, it's a weird look that we're not used to.
And Coach, I think it was on ESPN just the other day. I was watching an ESPN WWE spot. Okay.
Yep.
Who's doing the voiceover?
Triple H.
I don't get that. I don't understand, bro. If anybody, bro, that's a perfect Austin spot. Pay Austin. I'm sure Austin would be glad to go to a studio where he lives and cut that spot. Why?
It'd be amazing.
Why is Triple H doing that spot, Coach?
Well, we're going to talk about that on the other side, because John Cena is in some spots, but Triple H voices the spots. Why does he do it? Also, a WWE superstar is calling out the entire locker room. And this one, it feels a little bit personal. We're only halfway home. I love this hour. It's the Coach and Bro Show, presented by Afterburn, right here on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. All right, we continue on, you degenerates, on our YouTube channel. And Vince, it's crazy because, and I want to wait for Stadium to get into that. But Daniel Bryan also recently did a podcast. But Ronda Rousey, who I refuse to bring up on Stadium, did you see her quotes? And I don't want you to, I'll say Alexa Bliss. You don't say Alexa because then your thing is going to go off. But you talk about someone who doesn't understand the product or understand the business. She's like, they put me up against Alexa Bliss, who was the top merch seller at the time. Well, yeah, Rhonda, that's kind of how it works. She was popular at the time. I know we've got, as soon as I ask you that, we have a couple of super stickers coming in. By the way, these two, you'll get your name on the, what do we call it? The spinning wheel of fortune.
Yes.
We owe one merch because we're still getting our merch set up. So Smartest Mark Alive, he says, speaking of NBA, Raw's highest rating of 8.1 and the NBA's 1.2 came after MJ retired. Jordan's last game in June 1998 drew a 22.3. Wow. I mean, it's hard to compare, Vince, those years with now because there wasn't all of the options back then that there are now.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a ridiculous number. I mean,
really
and Hogan and Andre, I mean, yeah, man, those are just ridiculous numbers.
Ridiculous. It was unbelievable. Wayne's perspective, you'll also be on the Wheel of Fortune. I've said from the moment he started gaining influence backstage that Triple H being in such a position was not going to work, and he continues to prove me right. He should not be in this role.
But I've got to ask Wayne, how is it not working? Coach, we see the money they're pulling in. How is it not working?
And that's, you know what? I'm going to hold it because I want to talk about this on the show because you just did something that is driving me crazy, but you don't even know that you did it.
This is all a Viking bear thing, guys. All right, go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry. Coach, you got to get past it. You got to get past it, Coach. Go ahead.
It was a bad 2 days. It was a bad 2 days. It was a bad 2 days. That's all I can say. It was a bad 2 days. All right, we are halfway past the hour. We're back live on Stadium in 5 seconds. All right, welcome back, everybody. Coach and Bro Show here live on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. If you miss any of the show, you can catch us on our BTT YouTube page on demand. And all of the previous shows, you can catch up on all of it as we talk about the bigger issues in pro wrestling. Now, Vince, at the break, we love to bring in super stickers and people ask questions and they have their opinions. And basically, a guy named Wayne's Perspective said that Triple H and his influence backstage isn't working. And you said the question you came back with was what?
The question I came back with was, how can we say it's not working when it is all about money and it is all about bottom line and they are making money hand over fist?
And that drives me insane. And Wayne's Perspective then said, I'm talking from a creative standpoint.
Right, that I'm not going to argue with.
But that brings the two together, Vince, and that's what I'm talking about. Because this is what TKO and WWE is doing, is they are, every time that there is a lull or an all-time low or Raw is not getting the number. Have you ever seen WWE say, man, it was an all-time record on Netflix? No. They say all-time record of views on social media, YouTube, X, IG. It's never about the deals that they have, meaning USA for Smackdown or Netflix for Raw. So when somebody says, yeah, but they're making more money than they've ever made, yeah, that is true. But why is that always the deciding factor if nobody's watching the shows or if the ratings have completely fallen off where they used to be?
Because it's business. It really, Coach, it's business. They know they have a built-in crowd that is going to pay X no matter what. There is no need to make adjustments. There is no need to change anything. And we've said it a million times, until people stop paying that money, that they are not going to change that model whatsoever.
I had a couple of people call me last night. I have different connections that are still in the business. They're still at the different companies. And I like to call them just to get some feedback, because you and I are not out there in the arenas. We're not able to see everything. And one of the two people I talked to yesterday about this topic said that there are a lot of arenas that are not even close to being full. And the UFC is the same way, but they have raised the prices to where, what do they always do also, Vince? They say highest grossing event.
Yeah.
Never highest attended event.
Right.
They've changed the narrative. They've changed the model to hide behind the dollars and cents. But at some point, to Wayne's perspective, that's actually his name, and my perspective is eventually, maybe not today, maybe not next month, but eventually when these people stop coming to these arenas, and I went through it in 2002, it can happen drastically and quickly to where, and I think this is why they're taking their big shows to Saudi Arabia and taking them outside of the United States, because it's a smart business move for them, but not necessarily for the fan base.
Coach, I've been saying that all along, but it hasn't happened yet.
That's true.
And they're still paying these prices, which I wouldn't pay in my wildest dreams. I mean, I've said it on this show, man. I want to go see Paul McCartney, and $150 is too much for me.
There you go. But you're really, really cheap too.
I really am.
There's that. The other part of the Triple H situation here is, and this is when you compare Triple H to the old man, to Vince McMahon, and we bring in different names, and there's always opportunities to push talent and to get talent out there. And we tease about Triple H standing on top of Allegiant Stadium and announcing WrestleMania is coming back here for a second year in a row. Easily could have been Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre or anybody. But when you're trying to get an ESPN audience to come and watch your product, it's a perfect opportunity, Vince, to get a talent out front. So maybe the family sitting at home watching Monday Night Football, and they hear or see a voice and they go, oh, I like how that voice sounds. Oh, I want to go watch WrestlePalooza. But I'm hearing the voice and seeing the face of a guy that does not compete at all and is not even a character on the show. I'm still trying to figure out, outside of ego, what are they trying to accomplish with not putting a top talent in these positions?
Because he is a top talent in his mind. That's the difference between him and Vince. Coach, you and I both know this would never be Vince doing any of these things. It was always talent. Whenever he could find a vehicle for talent, he would give it to a talent 100% of the time. I've said this from day one. Triple H is always going to have that talent mentality. And it's not a Triple H thing. It's a wrestler thing. So to Triple H, in his mind, he is still a top talent in the WWE. And that explains why he's doing all this stuff.
The video, if people haven't seen it, at his Instagram page, it was a music video, and it's so funny because it's not like we don't know that they take private jets. It's not like we don't know that he makes millions and millions of dollars. But when you see it, it gives you even more of a disconnect to the life that he lives and the rest of us do. So it started, he was in Las Vegas, and he gets off the WWE plane, which must drive Vince insane to watch that plane that Vince used to fly on multiple times a week. Now he doesn't even own it anymore. It's not even his anymore. And Triple H is using it at his disposal.
Coach, I was there when Vince was flying commercial and not first class. Not
first class?
Not first class. He was in a commercial seat. I was there.
Wow, because he was still flying commercial when I got there.
Yeah.
But they literally month 2 when I started is when they bought the first plane, and it was only 12 seats. Now I think it's like 20 some seats. But wow, it was so weird to watch Vince walk through LaGuardia in his suit, $5,000 suit, and sitting, an A3 waiting for the little ugly door to come open at LaGuardia. It was hilarious. Yeah. Absolutely hilarious. It's going to be so fascinating to me now that the deals are done. Are they going to stop hiding behind the money? Because now the deals are done. You've got Netflix for another 9 years and 3 months. You've got ESPN for 5 years. You have USA for, I think, 5 years. Peacock has Saturday night's main event. So my point is, multiple years. Are they going to sit down? And do you think they sit down? Because I don't know that they do. I think Nick Khan is the only person between TKO execs and Triple H that is kind of the liaison. Do you think anything will change, or will Triple H continue to do this? Because my feeling in my gut is that he's doing this to show TKO, I am as important as I think I am, so you guys can't get rid of me.
See, I've not yet been able to figure this out, because he has clearly shown us what his booking style is. And if we look at what's happening right now, he's stockpiling the pops. That's what he's doing. And every time, if Netflix says something, if USA says something, if that number goes down to a 1.1, oh, who's next up? Liv more is Liv ready? That's what he's doing. He's stockpiling the pops, but all that's doing is telling people, you don't got to watch this 2-hour show. Go watch the minute pop on YouTube. So he it's the card up his sleeve. That's the card up his sleeve. But like I said, that card is turning people away from watching the product.
He's a really smart guy, though. And if you and I see it, and he proved the other day on McAfee that he continues to watch our show, because he talked about how certain people complain about pulling the curtain back. He goes, but then there's people out there that have been in the business that give away how it is backstage. That's not what we do. We talk about the business as it is. So he's trying to throw it on somebody else like us, that we're the ones ruining the business.
Right.
Not them. But to me, it is at a point where they've got to know, Vince, that whether it's the ratings, whether it's the top-heavy booking, whether it's the 3-segment matches, that something needs to change. And this is any business, Vince, but why can't they see it, or does he not want to? Because they're above that line where all they're worried about is their bonuses, and every 3 months, I made another 10 mil. I made another 12 mil, whatever it is. Because I think that's all they care about. That's how I feel, and Triple H included.
Well, that's it. That you're exactly right, Coach, and that's why they're not seeing anything but the bottom line. That's what they're seeing. So Al Snow was telling me today, I think ringside tickets for that Madison Square Garden show, I think they're like $3,500. They're going to be sold.
People are going to buy them. They're $2,900 for. It's called the ringside package. And then they still have other tickets at $1,100 that I don't know if you get the chair. $800, $600, $400, and then the last up is like $175, which is still a crazy price for way up in the Raptors. By the way, did you see, and we only have like 2 minutes left in the segment, we'll get to Drew McIntyre in about 5 minutes. Maven recently did Chris Van Vliet's podcast, and he was asked about the venom he got in a recent interview he did about when Triple H started being office and the boys didn't trust him when he started showing up in suits and ties. And I thought that was pretty brave of Maven, who's not even in the business anymore. He has a gigantic YouTube following. And he said, yeah, I took heat for it. But Vince, I was there when that happened. And this is the future that Triple H always wanted. This was his future. And I don't think he was going to let anybody step in his way of running the company. And now he's running the company. And he's doing it his way.
100%, Coach. Yep.
And it may not be the best way. We'll see. It would be interesting. I also think, and we'll probably talk about this on Monday, this is a great opportunity for your boy, Tony Khan, to really dig deep into storylines. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The first call he should be making is to that man right there on the screen, because you could really get that audience to come over to your show if you have really good, smart storylines. Vince, I believe that. And it's not just because you're my boy. I believe that. They have a chance to take that audience.
Yeah, and that was the chance Eric Bischoff gave us when the Attitude Era took off. That was the chance. When the NWA became so watered down, Coach, it didn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, regular ringside seats over $800 just for a regular ticket to Madison Square Garden. Not part of a package. Just a ticket to walk in the door, $800 on Monday night, November 17th. Don't get us started about John Cena not being able to say goodbye in Boston. Don't get us started. Don't get us started. All right, still to come on the other side, Drew McIntyre. He's our boy. Wait till you see what he said. This is the Coach and Bro Show, presented by Afterburn on Stadium. All right, we continue on, you degenerates here. Let's go to Ralph Mack. Vince, he says, Coach and Bro are legends. The show still making us pop. Never thought I'd be a mark 25 years later. If you could bring back one Attitude Era bit today, what would it be? I know what mine would be.
Go ahead, Coach.
I would try to redo the grocery store fight between Booker T and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Very nice. Very nice.
That was the greatest shoot that I ever saw.
God, can you imagine bringing back Vince and Austin 25 years later?
Oh, man. Boy, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. By the way, Austin's gotten a little soft in his old age. He put out a video yesterday. He loves cats, by the way. He's got 2 cats that are like his adorable pets. He loves them. And then yesterday he had chickens that he just lets roam free. And they're like climbing up in his 4-wheeler. He's like, hey, don't poop in my 4-wheeler. Like, wow. Wow. Yeah, I never thought he'd be a cat guy.
Yeah, little Mamby.
Steve Austin.
Little Mamby-Pamby. Little Mamby-Pamby.
Get your Mamby-Pamby t-shirt today. We always put the QR code up there on the screen. Let's go to Alan Gonzalez. He says, with the addition of AJ, Lyra, i.e. Dunn in the Intercontinental picture. Also, H on Kill Tony, not on Raw. Yeah, Alan, we talked about that. And Vince, it's one thing for Triple H to miss the show, but to admit that he was on, and that podcast is not just a podcast. It's like a complete show.
Yeah.
But Vince, to miss the show you're in charge of, that you're getting paid $500 million a year for, to go do a podcast of a guy that's not even funny. They continue to double down on this guy. He's not funny at all. He's offensive, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't understand it, Coach. I mean, I know all our energy, all we cared about was the show. That's it. It's all about the show.
All about the show. And we did shows on Christmas weeks. Retro, we'll get to yours. You're going to be on the spinning wheel. Maybe we'll call it the Wheel of Doom, even though that's not a positive. I think to pay homage to Triple H, we should call it the Wheel of Doom.
Yes.
We're back live in 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Coach and Bro Show live here on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. If you miss any of the show, you can catch us on demand at our BTT YouTube page. Also, we have a little post-show that if you go to our YouTube page, you can watch. We usually stay on another 10, 15 minutes answering questions for all of you. Now, Vince, one guy that never seems to toe the line, one guy that we know got a brand new 5-year deal about a year and a half ago because The Rock delivered it to him in Las Vegas, is Drew McIntyre. And Drew has done it again, but this time he's taken it a step further. And it plays into what you and I talk about with the poor matches, the getting blown up, not being in shape. And he went on a show, on a podcast, I believe, and he said that current WWE talent needs to stop worrying about social media validation, social media love, and get their asses in the gym and get in shape and worry about being a WWE superstar. I had no issues with what he said. Did you?
No, I really wonder, though, Coach, like how often they're getting in the gym because, you know, again, Coach, during my era, you know, you're looking at guys like Scott Steiner and Billy Gunn and even Double J. Those guys never, I mean, going to the gym was like taking a dump. I mean, that's all those guys did, every single one of them. So I just wonder how often these guys are going to the gym for him to publicly say something like that.
I would say not very much. And to me, at least back then, there was the built-in excuse of, damn, I left on Friday. I'm coming home on Tuesday. I drove 800 miles in those 4 days. At least you had an excuse. Now there is no excuse. They're only out there for one show, and the only house shows they do are overseas. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So how can you not? And to me, Vince, and you can never talk about the women like it's only about the men, but across the board, male or female, being a WWE superstar means you are in shape. You've got to be able to go. If you want to be a main eventer, you got to be able to go 25 or 30 minutes. Bang, 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 bang. And I know that CM Punk against Gunther, I called him out. He was blown up in 5 minutes at SummerSlam. 5 minutes. He's 46 years old.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, again, that is part of your job. That is part of the job description, period. Yes.
I remember when Rock, we had just so people know, we would have a meeting, say it's at noon or 1, whatever time. Some of us moved back. But the boys had to be there by a certain time. Rock would always come in at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But everybody knew Vince where he was.
Yep.
He had his schedule. It was get up in the morning, get the massage, go to the gym. Downtown Bruno had to have his chicken at just the right time. And so when The Rock is main eventing and he looks like $1 million, are you going to question him?
Yeah.
No. But now you look at some of the guys and you're like, how much time are they spending in the gym? And also, Vince, when you get to be 45 and all of their top guys are over 38, except for Braun Breaker, it's hard to stay in that kind of shape unless you're putting in the hours and the days.
Oh, absolutely. And then you got to stay on top of your diet. I mean, Coach, you know how that is as you get older. I mean, it's a full-time job, but I wonder how many of them are treating it as a full-time job.
No doubt. I'm going through it right now. I'm doing a very private health journey, Vince, that I'm home for about 4 months. You know, I travel from like January to August. So I want to get into the kind of shape, Vince, that when we take this show on the road and I'm back on the road and all of a sudden somebody goes, oh, did Coach lose like 40 pounds? Even though I didn't need to? Oh, the six-pack's coming in, Vince. I don't want to show it to you right now. Not right now. Not right now.
Oh, I'm gonna be in trouble then, Coach. I got no six-pack, Coach.
A 2's fine. A 2-pack's fine. 2-pack's fine. One other topic that kind of came out this week was Daniel Bryan doing a podcast. And by the way, a lot of you, again, will stay on after the top of the hour on YouTube. And Vince, some of the things he said were very interesting. And 2 of them was that Cody and CM Punk would not be in this position in the WWE if not for AEW. That they wouldn't have had that journey, that highway, that way of leaving and then coming back. Do you agree with him?
I agree with them as far as Cody is. I don't agree with him with CM Punk because, Coach, let's face it, people never stop chanting CM Punk at WWE arenas. They never stop chanting that. Cody, I do agree with him on that. If Cody didn't go through his AEW journey, I don't think there is any way he would be in the spot that he's in today in a WWE. So I agree with him on Cody. I don't agree with him on Punk.
And speaking of Cody, Triple H just announced that Cody will be at WrestlePalooza. Now, he doesn't have a match because we haven't seen him since SummerSlam, which means the most important title on that show has not been defended in 4 to 6 weeks. But I guess it doesn't matter. But if that's the case and you got to give ESPN a WrestleMania style show, then why would you beat up Roman Reigns to the point where we know he's going to be off for the same movie that Cody was just filming, Street Fighter? But you can't bring Roman back now after you just literally, tsunami'd him or whatever you call it 8,000 times on the show.
Trips has to go through his card catalog of pops. Who's in that card catalog of pops? Who's up next, Coach? Where's Bianca? Call Bianca.
Where has she been?
She's got a boo-boo. Her finger's got a boo-boo.
Last week, by the way, I thought about you. The AAA show, Dom's going to be competing at it, and they had a really cool segment. Americano, whichever version it was in the ring with the AAA champion, and all of a sudden, Dom comes up on a big screen behind the crowd, and they're kind of blocked, but it was a kind of a cool look, and I thought to myself, Vince is always telling us, even if you can't be there, and Dom could not be down, then do a video. And I was like, we could have done that in so many different instances. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that video.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, we said this leading up to where we are now with all the content they have to grind out. They don't have time to do any stuff like that. They just don't have the time.
Or maybe they don't think about it. I think being creative is one of the hardest things in life to do. And being creative in this business is one of the hardest things in this business to do. And when you're worried about just getting on the plane, getting to the show, getting the show on the air at 7 o'clock or whatever time. And oh, by the way, Vince, this Monday, they will be switching the start time. I wonder if that's going to be a permanent thing or if it's only going to be a 2-week trial. Because right now they've only announced it for the 15th and the 22nd. Do you think it's permanent?
God, bro, the last thing you hate to do in television is change the time, especially change the time back for. I remember, man, when we used to have that West Kennel Minister dog show, and we had to screw with the time. Sometimes it would take you a couple of weeks to rebound from that. So I don't see them changing the time only to go back to the old time, because that's usually a no-no in television. You usually don't like moving that time around.
I thought that they were moving it to not compete with Monday Night Football until I did a little research. And this Monday, Vince, there's 2 Monday Night Football games. One starts at 7 o'clock, head up against Monday Night Raw. The other one starts at 10 o'clock in Las Vegas, the Chargers and the Raiders. So they're still going to go head up against Monday Night Football.
Is that for the next 2 weeks or just this week?
The next 2 weeks.
Is that scheduled? The 2 NFL games?
Sorry. Just one Monday game. The next week is the Lions and the Ravens at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. So I think next week will be kind of the science experiment, so to speak, to see if the live viewing. But I think it's right now. I think it's one of the most important things is to sit down, look, how do we increase our live viewing on Raw and on SmackDown? Because we know social media is the absolute most important thing to them right now.
Yeah.
All right. Do not forget, we're going to stay on the air. Go over to our YouTube page if you're watching us on Stadium and Valley Sports Live. We will continue to answer questions. Also, we've got to do our Wheel of Doom. Who's going to win a very, very nice mamby-pamby piece of merchandise? We'll do that on the other side. But thank you all for joining us here. Every single week, we are growing, and we're growing because of all of you. We'll be back on Monday, YouTube only at 5 p.m. Eastern time. But for now, that'll do it here. For my man, Vince Russo from russosbrand.com. Check out all of his shows. Producer man behind the scenes. I am simply the coach trying to keep this train on said track. This is the Coach and Bro Show presented by Afterburn on Stadium and, of course, Valley Sports Live. We'll see you over on YouTube. All right, you degenerates. There's that mamby-pamby t-shirt, sweatshirt. You can scan that QR code. All right, Vince, we got a lot to get to. Producer man, I know I saw several super stickers that are in waiting in the wings, I believe. Or maybe I didn't get to one. I think we had a $20 one too. But anyway, Vince, there was a couple other things as we get these super stickers situated. If you have a super sticker of $10 or more every single Thursday at the end of the show, we will put up a circle, Vince. And last week, Smartest Mark Alive was our first winner. So we owe him a piece of merch. And then we'll have our second winner today. And I'm excited about it. I love that we're doing that.
Yeah, Coach, I got to tell you something that I'm just sitting here. I'm cracking up to myself when you're telling me the price of these tickets. Coach, I swear to God, my wife calls me a hoarder. I call myself a collector. Okay, so Coach, I was on the hunt for a year for an 8-track tape player.
Oh, my God.
Because you can find them, but it's very hard to find one that works. Coach, remember back in the day when you had the 8-track and it would double track? It would play like 2 tracks at once. You had to shove the matchbook under it. Remember all that?
Of course.
It took me a year to find a good 8-track player. So now, Coach, now you got the 8-track player. Now you got to go on the hunt for the 8-track tapes. Okay. Now, Coach, here's the thing. These 8-track tapes have been lying around for 40, 50 years.
Oh, my gosh.
They almost like disintegrate in your hands. Okay. So, Coach, when you put that 8-track tape in the player, when you go to take it out, you gotta like keep your eyes, because half of the time the tape is getting caught in the machine and you're pulling out the cartridge and the tape keeps coming out and out. So, Coach, I will literally go to antique malls, antique shops, flea markets, thrift stores. They will literally have 8-track tapes for $2.
Oh my God. $2?
Oh, Coach,
$2?
I will go up to the counter and say, let me tell you something about 8-track tapes. There's a 50-50 chance that this ain't coming out of the 8-track player in one piece. You ain't getting $2 out of me. I'll give you $1 for this tape. That's what I'm doing, and we got people paying $3,500. Like, Coach, what are we doing?
I don't even feel bad talking about it at every show, because I feel like we're the voice of the people now. We're the voice. People come here to hear really smart analysis, how the business, and then we're the voice of the people. And at some point, I don't know. Did you see the video, by the way? It was a little bit grainy and weird, but did you see that Nick Khan was out at like a Halloween thing or something like that, and a fan walked up and questioned him about the price of tickets?
I did not see that. I did not see that.
Yeah.
No.
I was going to bring it up on the show or the video, but you just couldn't really make it out. But it was a very awkward, because you could tell Nick didn't really want to say anything. He said he understood. But Shapiro, the same guy who made the quote about the ticket prices, basically said until we're paid down our debt, nothing's going to change with the ticket prices. So it's all about I think it's $6-7 billion in debt that they are. But as you said, and it would be amazing, just like with Jesse the Body back in the day. Well, all the wrestlers got to stand up to fight for a union. Well, until everybody does, nothing's going to change. And these fans that complain, there's enough fans that will literally mortgage. I know about a person mortgage their house.
Yes.
To be able to buy these tickets. All right, let's get to some super stickers. And remember at the end, the Wheel of Doom. We're calling it the Wheel of Doom. I don't care. Wheel of Doom. Brian K002. He put in 2 that equal $5. Very smart, Brian. Coach versus Gabby AF. Where's she been now that the last word is on hiatus? Or Vinny Ruru against Becky at WrestleMania 42. Bringing you out of retirement, world champ.
Yeah, Becky would probably kick my ass. I'll admit it. She, at this point in our lives, I admit she'd probably kick my ass.
So I brought up your argument on Off the Ropes about the reaction from Becky to AJ Lee. And I took it a step further. I said, whether it's Zelina Vega, whether it's Alexa Bliss, or whether it's AJ Lee, we've got to address that if they are 5 feet tall or 5'1", we're not criticizing them. We're saying this is the fight game. Right. And in a fight, you have 2 people that looks like it would be an even fight at that level. Right. And that reaction should not have been physically terrified.
And Shapiro's the one comparing professional wrestling to UFC and boxing. Mm-hmm. I never saw Muhammad Ali do that when Joe Frazier walked to the ring. I didn't see Ali. Coach, I got to tell you something. I watched some of those clips from the Sirius, and bro, I love Tommy Dreamer. Like, Tommy's my boy, bro. But some of their WWE takes, I'm like, guys, come on, like, just stop it. It's freaking ridiculous. They played that whole AJ Lee thing, Becky. They played that so wrong. It's not even fun. Don't sit there and try to freaking protect that. And they did a great job. And give me a bro. Becky Lee is slapping the shit out of your husband, and you're gonna skip to my Lou down to the ring. Come on, man. Like, wake up, guys, please. But you know why, Coach? That was the clip they wanted. They wanted the same entrance. They knew what the reaction was going to be. That's the clip that they wanted. So whether or not it made sense or not in the moment makes no difference to them. That's the clip they wanted.
Fair. That's very fair. Next super sticker. Let's go to KS. Coach, do you have any good stories about the Miz's early career heat? I actually do. Vince, when the Miz came in years ago, he had been on TV in one calendar year because of repeats and the real world. It was over 300 days. In one calendar year, he was on MTV. He was unbelievably popular.
That's
And
great.
so we went out, and he had a girlfriend at the time. And so we went out, and he refused to come out because he was getting so much heat from the boys for carrying the title around on his shoulder on the show. And he didn't really want to be here. He wanted to be a TV star, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, you got to come out. You got to come out. So I would make him come out. So we were in Pittsburgh one time, and they had this, it was on the weekend. So they had this red hot nightclub. So Vince, imagine all of these big WWE stars. And then you've got the Miz, super young, just coming off the real world. Vince, all of these 21, 22-year-old girls, when we walked in the door, they swarmed him. And then you had the likes of a Randy Orton, whoever. These are big-time names that are just standing there while all these girls are swarming the Miz. Imagine that scene.
Oh, God.
Imagine that scene. That's part of the reason he got heat.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason he got heat. He was so popular outside of the WWE, kind of like Logan Paul is today.
Yeah.
That the wrestlers didn't like it.
Yeah.
They're like, wait a second, he's coming in here. And that's why even now, Logan Paul or a Bad Bunny or a Pat McAfee, when they show up and they jump the line, the wrestlers don't like it.
No, they do not. They not. No.
Speaking of Becky, by the way, did you see the video of her? It may have been old, but it's just recirculating now because Ronda Rousey's back in the news complaining. And Ronda Rousey, a few years ago, was getting her hair done, and she was like, screw it. I'm going to ruin the business. I'm going to expose the business. I'm going to tell everybody it is scripted. It's not real. None of these girls could hold a candle to me. I'd get in there, and I would kick their ass. So basically what she said. And then Becky was on a talk show, and she goes, what's so funny is this is the same girl that stood in her kitchen and cried on camera about something else. I would have loved to have seen a Becky Ronda Rousey real go head-to-head when they were in their prime. I think that would have been amazing.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Coach, Ronda Rousey was in a tough spot because she had her run, and then I think she lost those last two fights, and then she went to the WWE. So, in her mind, she left UFC on a down note, losing those last two fights, and that's what everybody remembered. So now when she goes to wrestling and they want her to do a job, all she's thinking about are those two losses. I mean, that's yes. I definitely get the mindset. I mean, that's a tough spot to be in for somebody like her.
It really was. And the Holly Holm and then the Amanda Nunes fight is really what depleted her mindset because she got destroyed.
Yeah.
And I was on First Take at ESPN, and I said they are not going to sign a broken down star because she told the public, I can't handle losing after that fight, and she quit. Yeah. And so it was 13 months, but the fans were like, Coach, you're an idiot. You said they would never sign her. I said, no. I said they would never sign a broken star, which she was at that moment.
Right.
13 months later is a completely different story.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
We got several super stickers to get to. Retro KG says, hello, Coach, Mr. Russo. Kenny here. Two options. Less than $100 to meet Cross and Scarlett covered in gore, or thousands of dollars for a PG show aimed for kids and man-childs. I know which one I'm picking.
Yeah, I guess he's going to see Cross and Scarlett.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to go with Cross and Scarlett. I don't ever want to go back to the PG shows because we were there for the really good ones with Austin and the beer truck. And I did, 3 years of the Diva Search? And I got to be honest, I was in my 20s at the time, Vince, even though I still look like I'm in my 20s. And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
To get to host the Diva Search back in the day.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Matt Heaton says, breaking news, Triple H has set a mark for Pops that he's hired none other than the Boston Pops anthem and Cena's entrance at WrestleMania.
I love it, Matt. Very nice. The Arthur Fiedler and the Boston Pops. Yes, Arthur Fiedler. We're going to dig him up. Yes.
But Vince, this goes back to my other argument. If they had his last event in Boston, and they're still going to be in Boston for Raw, but if you had Saturday night's main event, You could start off with the national anthem.
Yeah.
On Peacock, because it's no longer on NBC, it's on Peacock. But the fact that it's not going to be his last night, you're going to put it in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
That hardcore wrestling city, Indianapolis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Matt, that's hilarious. Thanks for sending that one in.
Yes.
Retro again says, and my military buddies think Shotzi and Scarlett are attractive, unique, and exotic looks. That's what wrestling's all about. You don't want everybody to look the same.
No,
you don't want everybody to look the same.
absolutely not. Yep.
But by the way, Scarlett is so underrated with Karrion Kross. They are a dynamic duo. Dynamic. Back to the ratings. Roland says Michael Jordan's NBC rating beat Hogan's NBC rating. As a kid, I temporarily stopped watching wrestling to watch the NBA, where the kings of the 1980s, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, and Hogan. Man, Vince, people don't realize how big Mike Tyson was back in the day.
All those names were freaking huge. Man, I got to tell you guys, like, I was never a big Michael Jackson guy, but Coach, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell everybody else watching here on YouTube. I was never a big Michael Jackson guy, but before he died, he made that documentary called This Is It. I don't know if you ever saw this or not, Coach.
Yes, I did. Bro,
when you watch this documentary, you are seeing a genius at work. I watched that documentary and I was like, no bones about it. This guy was an absolute visionary, genius, master. I mean, you name it. And I recommend, man, you guys want to see the creative process and you want to see somebody that was just so much better than everybody else and in a league of his own. Watch that freaking documentary. It's amazing.
You know what, Vince? So me and my daughter, we have season tickets to a place out here called Segerstrom's, and they get all the big tours that come through, all the big tours, Broadway shows, all that. And so Michael Jackson has a tour right now. I think it's actually called This Is It. But it's a musical about his life. Right. And what people don't realize from that documentary, because basically it was cut short because of his death.
Right.
Right. Yep. And when he was going through all of the rehearsals and all that sort of thing, that he spent so much money and he had no comprehension of how much money he was spending. And in this musical, they go back and forth from his kid to being an adult, then back to being a kid and being an adult. It's really kind of a cool way of doing it. But Vince, when he died, he was like $200 million in debt because in his mind as the genius, there was no price tag on what he wanted to deliver. And do you remember at the Super Bowl when he did the halftime show? This just came across my feed yesterday. He stood there and the director said that Michael Jackson told him, don't start the track until I take my sunglasses off. Yeah. So he's standing there. If you remember, he's standing there for over 2 minutes.
Yeah, man. That's
the director is being interviewed. He was like, I'm not about to jump the queue.
No way.
Because Michael had every single second down. And so eventually 2 minutes and 5 seconds, boom, he takes the glasses off, music hits, greatest halftime of all time.
God, that's larger than life right there, man.
Really
unbelievable.
Is.
Yeah.
Oh, our boy Nonsense McGee says, to be the first olive branch towards peace in our country, we need a podcast with Russo and Cornette. Would that ever happen?
No, people got to stop that. No, never happening. Not interested.
Coach, any Trish Stratus good stories? Vince, any good Sable stories? I have a good Trish Stratus Triple H story. Have you heard my Triple H movie story?
No, let's hear it, man.
So remember when he wanted to be a movie star, just like so Rock had done it, Cena had done it. So Triple H lands this role in The Blade 3.
Yep.
Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds, and he was like the third guy. So the premiere was going to be in Toronto. Our buddy Carl DeMarco was going to put it on, the whole deal. And they're like, Coach, we need you to fly to Toronto and host the red carpet. And I was like, damn, do I really got to do it? All right, I'll do it. I go to LaGuardia. It's too windy, so now I don't have to go. Whew, boy, that was a break. I'm driving home in the limo from LaGuardia, and I get a call. Hey, Coach, Stephanie McMahon is driving to White Plains. She'll be passing you on I-95. Pull over, get in her car, and you can fly up with the family on the jet. And I'm like, damn. Most people would be like, yeah, I get to fly on. I
Yeah,
was like, oh no, right?
no,
So I get in. I'm thinking Hunter's going to be in the car, but it's just Stephanie. So imagine how awkward that 8 minutes was.
yeah.
As she's going, well, Paul this, Paul. She calls him Paul. She
Yeah.
doesn't call him Trip. She calls him Paul. So we get to the plane, and who is there? Vince, Linda, Shane, Shane's wife, Stephanie, me.
Yes,
Those are the 6 people, right?
Very nice.
So I'm like, what am I even doing here? What am I doing here? So we take off, and I swear to God, Vince, 5 minutes later, we're starting to come down. I'm like, wait a second. It's like an hour and 20 minutes to get to Toronto. And they look at me, and I'm sitting in the back on one of the things. And I said, wow, we're already in Toronto. They go, oh, no. We're stopping to get Trips' parents in New Hampshire to take us with them. So,
Coach, how do you get yourself in these things, Coach?
I don't know. I don't know.
This sounds like such a freaking nightmare, bro.
It was. It gets better or worse, however you want to look at it. So we land, and Triple H's parents are the nicest human beings ever. I love them. Everybody loved them. My God, are they good people?
Who's got the honker? The mother or the father? The dad's got the honker. Okay.
Oh, big honker. Big honker. Yeah, big honker. I love him. I love him to death, both of them. So they get onto the plane, Vince, and imagine this. And you know the old man. And even though he's worth a lot, they don't waste a lot of money, right? So they get on, and Triple H's mom looks at Stephanie, and she goes, oh, Stephanie, you really didn't need to send a car for us. You know, it's okay, because they live in a little tiny town. And she goes, oh, if you're going to have a movie star son, you need to be treated like movie star parents. And I looked over at Linda. She's rolling her eyes. Vince has his head in his hands like this. And Triple H's mother says, and I quote, yeah, but we just live right there. Vince, you can see their house from the plane.
Oh, my
said a limo, which is $500 or $600. So I'm sitting there, and now I'm laughing. I'm like, okay, let's buy into this. We land in Toronto. We get to the event. Nobody told them that I was still coming. So they hired a comedian, so I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fantastic. I sit through the movie, and I'm thinking we're going back to the airplane, going home. Oh, no. When you're Vince McMahon, you will get the restaurant at the top of the sphere that goes around like this to close.
Yep.
You're the only table in there. That's what billionaires do.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at the table at this restaurant. It is me. Trish Stratus is across from me because she's from Toronto, and then the rest of the family, and then you had Vince at the front of the table. So I'm sitting there going, how fast can we eat? How fast can we get out of here? And all of a sudden you hear ding, 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 ding. And Stephanie stands up to give a toast. And she goes, I'd like to give a toast to my husband, Paul. As I was sitting there tonight and I was looking up at the big screen, and I realized, I kid you not.
Coach,
I realized
you're killing me. This sounds like such torture. Like I'm getting sick just hearing this, and I wasn't even there.
This is all true. It's all true. Because I looked up on that big screen, and I realized that all of your dreams are coming true. So as her voice is breaking, I look across at Trish Stratus. Her head is down. I looked at Vince. His head's back like this. Shane, who hates Triple H, is standing there looking at his wife like, we are in hell.
Oh, my God.
So she goes on for another 20 or 30 seconds. She goes, so let's raise our glass to Paul Levesque.
Yes.
On his first motion picture.
Yes.
The first of many. Voice breaks again. And almost every time that I've seen Trish Stratus since that day, we brought up that story. Almost every single time. Every single time. It was classic. All right, Vince, we got to do a make good. Because the one thing we never want to do here is act like we missed something. And obviously this was an omission. So Sean McDermott, who I don't know if he's in here or not, but we told him we would do this because he put in 2 super sticker questions we didn't get to on Monday.
Yes.
So, producer man, can you put up the first one, please? And thank you, guys. I'm glad you like that story. So, this is a super sticker from Sean McDermott from Monday. Can we put up, because I can't read what you see. Okay, Vince Russo on Inside the Ropes will be the best episode they've ever done.
Where's my yeet button?
Yeet.
Hold on, I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna give Sean a couple yeets as a bonus.
Yeet, 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 yeet.
Okay.
How did you ever? I got to learn how to do the soundboard, because the soundboard is amazing.
Yeah, we got to get you a board. We got to get you a board.
I got to get. I haven't had a board since I was at ESPN Radio. By the way, was that the last one, producer man? I thought we had 2 of them. What's the point of Solo's group now? And have any of the other random Samoans in this group ever had a match or angle of any kind?
No. I mean, I'm sure they've had matches, but no angles. I mean, they haven't been in any angles. No.
It does seem like that. If you would have told me 2 or 3 years ago, Vince, that they wouldn't be dominating the shows and the storylines, I would have said you were crazy. They had so many guys lined up, and now there's no titles. There is Fatu still a champion or no? They took it off him.
No, he's not a champion anymore. No.
Sami Zayn is.
Yeah.
So it's I love the bloodline, and I just don't know why. And maybe it's a Friday thing. I'm like you. It's I will watch SmackDown, but I fast forward through the commercials, and I never watch it live ever. Yeah. But to me, those guys were can't miss. And now Solo gets beat clean, sort of, by Sami Zayn. And maybe Vince, I need the sounder. I just realized who Drew McIntyre was talking about.
Who's that?
Sami Zayn. He said, if you're going to be a champion, if you're going to be a top shelf WWE superstar, you got to get your ass in the gym. Sami Zayn, how many times have we said it? Does not look like a major league athlete.
Nope.
That's going to compete with a Drew McIntyre or a Roman Reigns or those guys because of how they look.
Coach, I just said it, and then, I get heat for everything I say, but I could care less. But Sami Zayn goes 50-50 with John Cena, and now we're supposed to believe John Cena can beat Brock Lesnar? How does that work? He just went 50-50 with Sami Zayn.
It's the rub. On the way out the door, he's giving the rub to the top guys.
Yeah.
By the way, Logan Paul, I'm becoming a bigger fan of his. I watched his Impulsive podcast, and he was talking about the match with John Cena in Paris.
Yeah.
And he was unbelievably respectful. And he said it was such an honor. He said, I learned so much in the ring from him. I also realized I need to get stronger, because he put me on his shoulders and it was like nothing. And I was like, damn, I can't move this guy because he's so damn strong. It was a really cool interview. If people haven't watched it yet, go there. I think Logan Paul is just a natural when it comes to everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I agree.
In the ring.
Yeah. And Coach, I don't think he's been on since the Paris show. I don't think he's been on anything since then.
No. And that was that was a week and 4 days ago.
Yeah.
He also admitted that he had one day he had just gotten married, and the one day where they stayed up till 9:30 in the morning. He's like, they partied every night. He goes, I wasn't exactly in my best shape that I could have been in, meaning he got drunk multiple days in a row. You couldn't tell, though. Let's go to Aquarian Ninja 89. Hey, Coach, how much did you enjoy your backstage segments with Crime Time? And any good Shad Gaspard memories? Rest in peace. Love that guy, by the way. Crime Time, I thought you could have had a ball with writing for them. They were so incredibly creative. But, Vince, I've seen 2 or 3 bits that I look at now and go, in 2025, they would be on TMZ as the most racist bits ever written for a wrestling show.
Yeah.
When Triple H and Shawn Michaels encountered them out by the gate, Shawn Michaels and Triple H had, and maybe, Triple H did this a lot back in there, several times, where he would throw out words that you can't use now.
Yeah.
And we used them back then.
Yeah.
Didn't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Triple H is he's not racist.
I miss Crime Time's run. I really didn't see any of that stuff.
Well, they weren't around for very long. Maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
I got to do several things with them, and then Shad Gaspard tragically drowned trying to save somebody out here in LA. He had a really successful weed business going on, so a really, really good dude. Really good dude. Let's go to Scott Ward. Scott, you're going to be on the Wheel of Doom coming up in a few minutes. He goes, I saw an ad for the new Wyatt 6 Halloween attraction at Universal Studios, and it is more creative than anything WWE has ever done with them. Where the heck are they? Whataburger?
Yes.
Scott, you're my boy, Scott. You're my boy.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Apparently, it's a real attraction at Universal Studios.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but you know, good for them. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like every week, Vince, more and more people are coming to not only our show, because we see the numbers climbing, but understanding that when we joke and we kind of tease about certain things, they're starting to understand. And like the whole Whataburger thing, oh, coach, no big deal. Everybody knows that it's a show. Not really all the time. If you're going to have a character like that, you got to protect it. Did you ever see Freddie from Howl or whatever those movies? Did you ever see him like out and about, like saying, hey, I'm Freddie from these? No, you protect those characters a little bit. Right?
Coach, I'll never forget. I was in college. So I was a young kid, 19, 20 years old. Halloween 2 came out. I went to the movie theater by myself to see it. Now, Coach, I usually make it a rule of thumb. I cannot watch horror films in a movie theater because I'm always doing this and looking between. Like, I cannot watch horror films on the big screen. So, Coach, I swear to you, I'm in a movie theater. I'm watching Halloween 2. It was 2. And there's like literally, it's in the middle of the day. There must have been 5 people in the theater.
Okay.
So I'm watching this movie. I'm doing the whole gimmick, like this and that. Bro, I look to my right. This freaking dude is dressed head to toe as Michael Myers and turns to me with that. Bro, I ran out of the movie theater. I ran out of the movie theater. The dude
you were that
scared the living hell out of me to where I was convinced that Michael Myers was sitting in the movie theater 3. And bro, I'm 20 years old at the time, for crying out loud.
I wouldn't even gotten into the theater. I hate horror films. I hate.
Yeah. Coach, you weren't around during Francois, were you? Was Francois gone when you were?
No, Francois was still there. Francois, the doctor.
Coach, yes. Can I tell you a great Francois story?
Of course.
I was in love with this man because I am such a mark for characters, and Francois was the biggest character in that locker room. There was so many rumors about this dude. He was a ninja. He was in the Foreign League. Like he had so many legends going around him. You never knew what was real or what was not, right? So I'll never forget, man. I love this man so much. He lived in Laguna Beach, and I don't know if it was Laguna Beach. It was somewhere there in California. I actually stayed at his house. And 2 things, Coach. First of all, I swear to God, I'm sleeping in his house, and he had a beautiful wife, gorgeous. She was a model. I'm sleeping in his house, and in the middle of the night, I feel something on me. Bro, I swear to you, this guy had a 6-foot iguana as a freaking pet.
Stop it.
And this iguana is on my chest in the middle of the freaking night. But Coach, this is my favorite freaking story, right? God, I wish I could remember the name. Del Rey. What?
Marina Del Rey.
Marina Del Rey.
Yeah. That was the very first Diva search, by the way, at the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, he lived in Marina Del Rey. This dude had money. He had this car that nobody else had. It was worth like $100,000 or whatever. So, bro, we're in Marina Del Rey. We pull up to a light. He's got this expensive sports car. The dude next to him's got an expensive sports car, starts revving the freaking engine. I'm in the passenger seat. And Francois looks over. You want to go? We go. You know, with that French accent. You want to go? We go. Bro, this is in Marina Del Rey. So the light turns freaking green. They put the pedal to the metal. Bro, there are cars on the freaking road. So I'm there scared to death in the passenger side. Francois, what are you doing? And in that French accent, Vince, what do you want me to do? He wants to race me. He wants to race me. What do you want me to do? So, bro, we're racing this car through the streets of Marina Del Rey. Every time we come to a stop sign, he looks over. This dude had tinted windows, but as soon as the light would turn, pedal to the metal, boom, right? So finally, bro, we get to a light. I swear to God, this may be the greatest story of all time. We get to the next light, bro. I'm on the passenger side. The other car is next to me, so I'm passenger driver's side. Bro, the dude hits the window. The glass comes down. Warren freaking Beatty, bro.
No!
Yes!
No!
And I'm like, Francois, freaking Warren Beatty. What do you want me to do, Vince? What do you want to race me? Bro, it turns green. Warren Beatty. We freaking raced Warren Beatty through the streets of bro, I swear to God, I'll never forget that as long as I live. Unbelievable.
There was a time where he was Hollywood royalty.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, shampoo. The shampoo days. Forget about it. Oh my God, bro. Yeah.
You know, Francois was one of the first guys to get fired after I got there. He was making $10,000 a week. A week.
Was there a reason behind the firing, or just too much money?
Too much money, and the business took a dip like the end of when Rock left, and we had like I remember Nashville, 2,000 people in a 20,000 seat arena, and so they brought in a new CFO, and he looked at it and been like, okay, that guy's got to go. Yeah. He was also, not to bring up a morbid situation, he was also the guy. If anybody's ever seen the pictures, which they're not really out there because they're really protected, but when Owen Hart fell from the Raptors, Francois was the one that was straddling him, giving him CPR. Yeah. Giving him CPR.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a couple more to get to. Gio, who in the company at the time you guys were working there is the biggest mark for themselves? Any stories? Well, we talk about Triple H all the time. I was shocked that Maven said that. Yeah, I love Maven to death, but he told me that he got a little bit of heat from some people, and I said, well, if you got heat at this point, 20 years later, it's either people that want to go back there and work there.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they would care if Maven said anything about Triple H, because people need to understand that he used to be the blue jean jacket wearing guy in DX.
Yeah.
And he was the guy that was, getting into trouble all the time, and there was China, and there was, Road Dogg and all those guys. And then all of a sudden, Vince, literally one day, we're sitting in the production room and he walks in a suit and tie with a briefcase, just like Vince. And I remember it was like dead silence. And we're all like, are we looking at a mirage?
Yeah.
Is this real?
Yeah.
And every day after that, and I don't know if we've ever seen him on camera outside of the swim trunks.
Bro, I got to what I'm surprised about lately, and it's happening a lot more, man. Like Kevin Nash is taking a lot of swipes at WWE creative.
Yes.
And Kevin Nash is as honest as they will come. But that really surprises me because, I know him and Hunter are boys, but he's been taking a lot of swipes at creative.
And I think they're all warranted. The one thing I think fans think is that we love being negative, or and we don't. I love the business, and we talk about great stories, great talent, but right now it should tell them something, Vince, that guys like Kevin Nash or shows like this, that there's enough storylines that end up being open for criticism, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah. And for us, what do I always say? I always want this show to be better. I always want this brand to be better. We're always looking, how can we make things better? We're always listening to the chat, always.
And Coach, there's so much. I was even thinking the other day, and I just said this off the top of my head. We got Nick. I think very, very badly they need a heel authority figure. They need a heel.
I do.
Look at the situation you have. You got Nick Aldis. You had Mickey James on the legend LFG.
LFG. Yep.
She got replaced by Taker's wife.
Correct.
Okay, now if I'm watching this and I'm Nick Aldis, now I'm kind of pissed off. And
Why?
now I'm kind of under contract with the WWE and I'm in this authority figure. Now I'm going to start being a heel a little bit. Okay, now you're going to see me changing a little bit. I appreciate what you did to my wife. Meanwhile, Taker's dude wins the contest. So you've got a built-in angle. Taker replaces Mickey James, his wife, with his wife, and Taker's guy wins the gimmick. So now you got Aldis burying Taker. Taker sends that guy. This is stuff that if you just open up your eyes, it is right in front of you, and you're not capturing any of it.
Because they've told us that it's a show. And they don't want to bring real life stuff into the show. That's not even real life stuff. That sort of it is. But you could also consider it show stuff because it's on LFG.
Right.
Every time you bring up something like that, I'm like, oh my God. It seems like with 8 or 10 or 20 people in a room, that would be brought up at some point.
Yeah.
It would be brought up at some point.
Yeah.
It really would be. Real quick, I do want to shout out Kimberly. She wrote, I have to say thank you to Coach and Vince, producer man, the crew at Coach and Company. It's given me an outlet I so desperately needed, living my sports dream. I call her the chat queen. She's every show. So what we're going to do, because she's literally Vince at every show that we do. And she tweets out every single show that we do. Could not have somebody that's more invested in what we do than Kimberly. So Kimberly, we're going to send you a Mamby Pamby sweatshirt on me, or t-shirt or sweatshirt. You tell me what you want. And we're going to send it to you as a thank you for everything you do for the brand. And you've never asked us for anything. Like she's never asked us for anything, but we're going to do that for you because we love you so much. And thank you for that note.
Yeet.
All right. All right. So I believe we have got, yes. All right. So now, Vince, we have one thing left to do.
Are we sure we got everybody, though? Producer man, just make sure we got everybody. I just want to make sure we got everybody. No, not last minute, nothings. Everybody's good to go. Okay.
All right. So we still owe Smartest Mark Alive. And the only reason we haven't sent it out yet is because I told everybody I wanted to start it, even though it wasn't quite ready yet. So that's on me, but we'll get it to him. So this will be number 2 on the Wheel of Doom, a t-shirt, mamby-pamby, for Spin the Wheel of Doom. Let's go.
Yeet, 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 yeet.
Uh-oh.
Did it freeze up?
The wheel's broken.
Oh, there it is.
Here we go. All right, let's go.
Here we go. Who's going to win
Snake eyes, snake eyes, snake eyes. Let's go.
Today. Bryan K002. He's the one that wanted you to fight Becky Lynch.
Uh-oh, very nice. Very nice.
All right, congrats. Send an email over to Producer Man. He will take care of it. Kimberly, send an email right there as well, and we'll get all of you. So we owe 3 things right now. We'll get you guys taken care of. Thank you for your patience as we're launching things literally by the day. One last one. And by the way, Sean, you were on there twice. We did you a solid, even though you didn't win. Sorry about that. We do have one more. ABT says you guys ought to make a free ball shirt or perhaps boxers for the merch store.
Yeet, yeet, yeet.
Yes, very nice. Very nice.
Is it weird that every now and then I think about you free balling it?
Yeah, well, you got it, Coach. It's all part of the thing, you know?
All right. Do not forget, everybody, we'll be back on Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and then you can stick around for the Monday Night Grind at 7 Eastern Time as we count down to Monday Night Football, 2 games, and we can do live reports of Monday Night Raw. How about that, Vince? How about that?
That's awesome. Beautiful.
Pretty cool.
Man.
Yeah.
Yes, very
That'll
nice.
be awesome. Yeah, you go, that'll be awesome. I won't be there, but that'll be awesome that you guys are doing it. It really would be. All right, that's going to do it for now. We'll see you guys on Monday. Also, do not forget Coach and Company tomorrow morning. It's a Friday, which means we're getting you set all for college football and for the NFL as well. For Vince Russo, Producer man, and all of you, thank you sincerely for allowing us to do this so much. I am the coach. We'll see you next time on the Coach and Bro Show. Take care.